Hey, nice to see you. Thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. I like your background. Look at that.
All the
You fit,
dates there ready?
you fit perfectly in the middle. It's like perfect.
Speaking of the dates, Melbourne's sold out. We've got Brisbane and Perth low tickets. You must be so happy to see the fans are really ready to see Murder Dolls.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great feeling. So Australia is always a really cool place to visit. We get to escape winter here for a little bit and go to the heat. As you can
Well,
tell, I'm a fan of the sun.
it's a bit debatable in Melbourne at the moment. We're not getting much of a summer, but hopefully it'll be good for you.
I'm joking. If it's a little I know it's going to be hot, but the least amount of sun I could get, it could put a person like me out of business.
So true. Um,
Yeah.
Now, with the tickets selling so well, as I said, exciting to have you back. It wasn't actually that long ago you were here with Glam Fest. Um, it must be great to come back and do Murder Dolls this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's always cool to come to Australia and play. It's we've been there. Like I did a post online yesterday. I was collecting all the posters from all the years we played, and I couldn't find two of them, but it's a lot. And we've been here for almost every record release, and when there wasn't a record release, we'd do a specialty like we did our unplugged set here. So you guys get all the fun stuff. And the last time we were there was the Glam Fest thing. So that was our first time coming there as just sort of doing a support sort of show. So this time we're back with a theme, and the theme is Murder Dolls. So we'll be playing all of those songs. So and we're pretty much doing what we did in the States. It's a long set. It's a 20 song set list. And luckily, all of our songs with Murder Dolls were about 3 minutes, so we're able to play all those songs and fit into a set. Like, how can you play that many songs? Because they're short.
That's it. Yeah, I did see that reel you put up with all the different posters. It was great. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of Murder Dolls, when I saw you in 2019 with Static X and Dope in Melbourne at the Croxton, I had no idea of the intertwined members from those three bands with Murder Dolls.
Hmm.
It was just interesting to see all of you tour together, and then when because I've always been since then obviously obsessed with Wednesday 13 and gone through the whole back catalogue, but wasn't really into Murder Dolls at that stage. So I've been doing my research, and
Hmm.
yeah, all members from those three bands all formed part of Murder Dolls at some point in time.
Yeah, it's yeah, like the when Murder Dolls was called the Rejects, it was Joey and the guy Trip who was involved with Static X. And then that got me involved. And when I got involved, I came in as a bassist, and then and then I brought my songs in, and then Joey wanted more of my songs, and then I became the vocalist, and then we changed the name of the Rejects and became Murder Dolls. And then we were about to go out and tour, and Trip was in Static X, and he was given an ultimatum, or what I had heard that he had to do one or the other, and he couldn't tour with Murder Dolls. So uh, we got AC from the band Dope at the time, and then he joined in the band, and then so yeah, we're just all intertwined. Yeah, it could be a TV show like Melrose Place or 90210.
Um, when you're playing Murder Dolls in comparison to your solo stuff, is it still just as enjoyable for you to go back and go over your older things like that?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's and it was a long break for a lot of these songs. But these songs go back even before Murder Dolls, because I brought in these songs from my band Frankenstein Drag Queens into Murder Dolls. So they had 6, 7 years of life before Murder Dolls even got a hold of it. So to me, these are songs that I wrote in my late teens. Some of these songs, like "Die My Bride" and 1976, and those songs I was still a child almost. So it really goes back. So I get memories from Murder Dolls and even in before that. So it's definitely like a time machine going back with these songs. But the great part is that the fans have grown with the music as well. So I get to see their reaction. It is one of them the greatest thing on this last tour. We just did 6 weeks in the States. We did 38 shows. And the best part of the show was just watching people's reaction to hearing these songs. When we go back and play the song from the first album, Slip My Wrist, when we go into that, just people, you just feel it. Like it's not even see, it's an energy that you feel. And it's such a reward every night, just getting that reaction from the audience. And the audience has been uh, a lot of people that were there from the very beginning, and now they've brought their kids, and their kids are the front rows, and they're this young audience. They've got the X's on their hands because they're under here in this, it's such a just it's a trip. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing. It's like I'm getting older, but yet the audience is still there, and they're growing, and they've got kids now. It's bizarre. It could be, it's
Yeah,
like I
and
said, the big
look,
TV show.
yeah, for sure. And for me, only recently discovering the music of Murder Dolls, I'm just so excited, to get to the show and see it, because obviously loving Wednesday 13 stuff so much. For me, it's very similar vein, and
Mhm.
after just listening, it's so exciting now to be able to come down and see you in Melbourne and play these songs. The timing's just been perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And for some people that, I mean, it's all from the same tree. Murder Dolls and Wednesday 13, the music is, like I said, it's been a long journey for me. I've released 9 Wednesday 13 albums. There's 2 Murder Doll albums. And then all the other stuff I did prior to that and in between my side projects. It's just I get over 20 full-length albums of stuff, and it's just I love what I do. I love this isn't a chore for me. This is a lot of fun. Look, fortunately, this is my job, fortunately.
Well,
And
they
I
do
get
say, if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. So,
yeah. I mean, the travel and stuff is a little exhausting, especially the travel to Australia and the travel within the country because we fly to every gig and you basically play a show and you have maybe a couple hours to sleep before you're up again on another plane. So that's always it's an adventure, but we literally coast off the energy of the audience.
yeah.
And people say, how do you do it? I'm like, literally, it is the energy of the audience because there's been times where we've had no sleep, and we got to play. And I'm like, how are we going to get through this? And as soon as we play the first song, the audience is just this is electricity. So so yeah, I'm trying. We always try to go in with, I'm gonna get some rest. I'm gonna try to sleep on the plane. I'm gonna do this, and you don't. It's just it's a yeah. I've had worse problems,
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions, was how do you cope with the jet lag? And obviously you've just answered it there. You just do it and you power through. And
and I mean I'm trying. I'm just gonna go with it and not really think about it because we go from Los Angeles to Australia, the east coast of Australia, and then it ends in Perth. Then we have to fly back to Sydney and then Sydney back to Los Angeles. And we have 2 days in Los Angeles and then we fly to Europe for a month. So I don't even understand the jet lag or what it's going to be like. But luckily, I want to wear a big hat, and some sunglasses. And if I fall asleep, that's why it just works out.
it's a shame there's no downtime here for you. But like you said, you have been here a lot and you've obviously seen quite a lot of Australia on your previous tours anyway.
Yes, I've been able to go to the zoo. Yeah, I did all the stuff, but we have a day off. Our arrival day is the day before the first show, so we have a little bit of time to sort of get into the zone of it, and then we have a day off, I believe, in Adelaide for the tour. So normally we don't have any days off at all. We have the arrival day, and back in the older days, we used to come here and we'd go out and run into some fans, and they'd start buying us drinks, and next thing you know it's we've drank our entire day away, and the next day we got to go play a show, and we're just it's a oh yeah.
Now, speaking of Wednesday 13, Horrifier 2022, we must be due for a new album.
Yep.
Yep. So we've got something coming soon.
Yeah, I'm working on stuff in this little laboratory right here, and we speak. There won't be an album out this year, but we will record it this summer, and I imagine that it will be out early 2025, and we'll be touring on it, and hopefully we'll be back in Australia next year touring on that album. And I'm excited to work on it. And nothing really against the Horrifier record, but that was my COVID record, and it was just the first. It was a weird record for me, and this new music and the new ideas I have, uh, it's a much happier, better place for me mentally. So I'm excited to make new music. I've been just this last week I've demoed and come up with four new songs that I'm really happy with, that I can tell already like these are
Yeah.
album, which is good because it's just coming naturally without me forcing it. And the last record was, hey, you got to put this, you got to finish, you got to start writing this record during COVID, and you got to record it during the end of COVID. And it was a weird time for the world. And luckily I was able to make a good record. But mentally I wasn't in the best shape. So this one's my Rocky comeback. This is Rocky 2, I
Excellent.
guess.
Look, for me, Necrophase is a really tough one to beat. Do you have
Mhm.
a favourite yourself, or is it just what you're currently working on is always your favourite?
If I had to look back on I mean, all of my records are like periods of my life. So I kind of go, oh, uh, my first album was the happiest. It was the most fun I think I had creating, because it was brand new for me. I was branching out from Murder Dolls. And I think that first one really just, I captured it. I captured lightning in a bottle with that one. And my other records I like a lot, but I think that first one is my favorite. But you tend to always, when you're writing new stuff, you go, this is the best one. I hope I hope that this new music I'm working on, when we actually start doing it out of a demo phase here, with me doing everything digitally and drum machines and stuff, when I'm able to get the band together and play, I hopefully I can say, man, this is the best one since the
Yeah.
first. Uh, but no, I like all of my records. There's not a record that I have that I hate, or anything. Which luckily, I can say that I like all of my records, but they're like kids. I like some better than others. This one I like a little better and give it a little extra money to on the side.
Now, I was talking recently with Tim King from Soil, and we
Mhm.
just touched briefly on his side project, Embryonic Autopsy. And I said to him how I almost had to cover my eyes to read the names of some of the songs. Um, is there anywhere you draw the line with your lyrics? Because you do, get in some dicey areas. Is there anything off limits to you, or is it just doesn't really matter? I'm just going to write it.
Yeah, I mean, there's just certain things I don't sing about. Um, but for me, if it could be in a horror movie that I'd watch, I'll sing about it.
Yeah.
But I don't watch all kind of horror movies. I watch a good portion of them, but I don't necessarily go for the shock value of just disgusting like kind of stuff. For me, my shocking word, which isn't so shocking anymore, but back when I started doing it 20 some years ago, was just saying fuck
Yeah.
was shocking. And that's why our song I love to say fuck, which is uh our staple song. But yeah, that was my shock value. For me, lyrically, I want my lyrics to be fun. If you read something that is over the top and ridiculous. I want it to be comical and tongue in cheek. There you go. Oh, okay, he knows he's making a joke about that. So all of my grave robbing songs, which are a lot of them, they're all tongue in cheek and fun. Like I'm not going out after this interview and going to go, hey, I'm going to go dig up a grave or something. You know what I mean? But there's some people that think I really am into that stuff, but I'm not. It's
Well, maybe don't watch Saltburn, because we probably don't want to write any
yeah.
songs with those sort of things in it. Perhaps if you haven't seen it, maybe give that one a miss.
Yeah. You know, I consider myself, I'm the Beetlejuice of rock and roll. It's I like to think, because Beetlejuice is, people say, what, who, if you could be a character, you know, I'm like, or I could say I am liking it. It's very much like Beetlejuice. It's comical, but when it's time to get weird and put on the show, and like you said, it's showtime, you're like, oh shit, this guy, you know, so he's sort of my spirit animal. So I basically do what Beetlejuice would do. I do what, and I, you know, don't do what Beetlejuice wouldn't do either. So following his footsteps.
Now, your influences in music growing up obviously had something to do with your horror/metal genre. Who did you listen to, and what influenced you?
Uh, I mean, I'm still listening to the same bands that I still say I grew up listening to. I mean, um, you know, seeing Kiss on my brother's wall, not knowing what I'm even looking at, thought it was literally a comic book. You know, Kiss became a favorite early on. Alice Cooper, Twisted Sister, Wasp. Those are my favorite bands of that era that I grew up on, because I
Mine
got to see
too.
and I got to see that when I was growing up. Like it was, you know, that was real time when I was growing up. And those are my favorite from that era. I could list you another 100 bands that maybe you've never heard of that were the up and coming hair metal sort of late 80s, early 90s bands. And I bought a truckload of those bands, and there was some amazing stuff that had huge influence on me that I still listen to as well. Bands like uh, we were on the Glam Fest with Faster Pussycat.
Yeah.
Enough's Enough was on that as well. But it was bands like Shotgun Messiah, Spread Eagle, Circus of Power, The Throbs. I could just look at that. I could just tons of band. There was so much good rock and roll stuff came out, but there was also many horrible bands as well. But that's the ingredients that made me. But that's what I listened to. But what I watched when I wasn't listening to music was the stuff you see surrounding me, which is all this 80s stuff from Halloween and Return of the Living Dead and Friday the 13th and Freddy Krueger and Leatherface and TV shows and just everything. Those are all the ingredients. I took all of that and just sort of put it in a blender and mixed it up. And that's the input is, or what came out is this. It's crazy. And that's still to this day what I'm doing. I'm still taking all of this and putting it into a blender, and what you hear is the result of that. And I surround myself with all this stuff I grew up on, because number one, I still love it. It's my fountain of youth, and it's always worked for me. And so I will continue to keep doing what I'm doing, and I think this is going to be the ingredients for it. It's as much this type of media as much as it is the musical input. The it's a combination of all that, and if it's and I hope it sounds like this looks as
It
well when
really
you're.
does.
That's what I try to do. And I really, really, I even said that to myself today. I was like, I want my new album to sound like this looks in here. I want them to go, man, it's like what's the ingredients? This, all of this. And
It
I
seems
think I'm
like
on.
we grew up in exactly the same house, musically, movies, the whole thing. Yeah, it's just, it's a good place to be, and your music certainly represents that, that's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, just touching quickly on your band, who's coming out? Who are you bringing with you?
Same my touring band I've had with me for the past I'm losing track of time. But it does feature Ramon and Jack, who were with
Yep.
me in Murder Dolls on the last time we were in Australia. So they're no stranger to those shores. And so yeah, it's gonna be a fun tour. We're basically doing the tour, the same show that we did here in the States. It's a 20 song set list. And you get 13 songs off the first album, and the rest is off the second. And you get a bunch of stories and a lot of hair flying, and it's an energetic show, and it's hot there, so I'm sure I'll be sweating a little extra, but it's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Look, we cannot wait to see you here. I, for one, will see you in Melbourne. I'll be up the front. I'll give you a little wave. Um, thank you so much for your chat today. It's been fantastic. Safe travels, and we will see you in the next week.
That's right. A week from the day, we'll be on a plane heading that way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you
See
next
ya.
week.
Bye.
Bye bye.